When we were marching, we used to bawl out an unbelievably vile song. Hang the Jews, line the fat cats up against the wall. Probably not one of us stopped to think about what those words actually meant.
What the boys learned in meetings was put into practice on the streets.
Und dann marschierten wir los. Wir kamen an die städtische Sparkasse.
Then we started marching. We came to the local bank. There was a glass case in which Der Stürmer, the extreme Nazi tabloid, was displayed. Our platoon leader saw the case and roared, "Death to Judah." The cry was taken up by the boys in the front and travelled down the line to me at the back. It was a crisis of conscience. I couldn't join in, I couldn't. I just mouthed the words. But then something clicked. The idea came to me that Judah was a country somewhere far away. And if I said, "Death to a country," I wasn't hurting people. I joined in the shouting. It was terrible.
On the 9th of November 1938, the Nazis launched a major attack on the Jews. It became known as Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass.
Enthusiastically, I went to see where the fire was burning. It was next to our school. I wondered why they only put out the house fires next door and not the main fire, until a Hitler Youth friend said, "Hey, we lit that. Weren't you there this morning when we smashed the Jew shop windows and took stuff?" Then I saw stormtroopers and Hitler Youth members carrying out Torah scrolls. They cheered as they threw them onto the fire. 2 days after Kristallnacht, all Ludwigsburg was whispering, "Our doctor, Dr. Pintus, is dead." He was arrested on Kristallnacht in the evening and took cyanide in the prison van because he knew what was coming. I was 13 years old. It struck me for the first time that 3 years earlier I'd shouted "Death to Judah," and now he was really dead.
Most boys were hardened to the horrors of Kristallnacht. They had learned to trust Hitler completely.
Glaube, der unabdingbare Glaube.
Faith, unconditional faith, that the Führer would do things right.
Ist uns ja damals als der
He was represented in those days as God, well, akin to God.
Gottähnliche.
And that's how we saw him.
Das haben wir auch darin gesehen.
War ein Idol, es war ein halber Gott für uns.
He was our idol. He was a demigod. I tell you quite honestly, if someone had tried to shoot Hitler, I'd have leapt forwards and died for him. Nowadays, I know it was madness.
Und als Wahnsinn, ne?
In 1932, Herbert Norkus, a 15-year-old member of the Hitler Youth, was murdered. He had died after a violent street fight with members of the Communist Party. Hitler Youth leaders immortalized Norkus as the hero of a film. They made sure every member of the movement saw Herbert Norkus martyr himself to the Nazi cause.
Perfekt. Unsere Fahne flattert uns.
Wir haben den bewundert, den Jungen. We admired him. A shiver used to run down our spines.
Gänsehaut über den Rücken gelaufen. Du bist eigentlich nichts, dein Leben ist nichts wert, du musst es...
You're nothing? Your life is worthless. You must be ready to sacrifice your life to the flag. It was an appeal to the young that sentenced them to death. Can there be a greater crime than that? It was an appeal made to 12- and 13-year-old boys.
12-, 13-jährige Jungs gerufen.
Früh übt sich, was ein Meister werden will.
Hitler Youth boys were invited to visit army barracks, use the firing ranges, and take part in training maneuvers.
Geländespiele haben wir selbstverständlich gemacht, in denen man...
Of course, we did field exercises in which we tried to behave like soldiers. Move forwards properly. Don't let yourselves be seen. Creep up on them and so on. Children loved that kind of thing. And they exploited that. But these games were immensely entertaining, and you can seduce people that way.
Man kann ja auch auf das Spielerischste verführen.
By 1936, Germany's army, the Wehrmacht, was playing an increasingly prominent role in the Hitler Youth.
Das war das Ziel des Führers.
The Führer's goal was to train young people as soldiers. Young men the world would fear. That's what he once said. And the world did fear them.
Dieser Jugend ist die Welt ja dann auch erschrocken.
When war finally came, boys who had been trained in specialist camps from the age of 10 finally had a chance to fight. For the Hitler Youth, war was the culmination of everything they had learned.
Das hat tatsächlich eine gewisse Begeisterung bei uns.
It unleashed a certain enthusiasm in us. Poland was a surprise to me as a 13-year-old, but I still remember the entry into Paris, the occupation of Paris, and the quick end to the French campaign. That certainly filled us with enthusiasm.
Begeisterung versetzt, nicht?
The country was euphoric after Hitler's success against the French in 1940. Teenage boys from the Hitler Youth rushed to volunteer to serve their nation.
Wir waren begierig darauf.
We were eager to become real soldiers and go to war properly, although naturally we had no idea how cruel this war would become.
Dieser Krieg werden würde.
The Hitler Youth had seduced a generation of German boys into believing in the Nazi cause. But in serving Hitler, many of them would be called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice.